Hello everybody, happy Monday. It's Monday everybody. We are live. And I know the days of the week. It's the bare minimum at this point, isn't it? How are we all doing out there? You guys, you feeling good? You feeling happy? Feeling chill? Feeling awesome? Ready for another week? Another week at the grindstone. I think it's what they say, isn't it? It's not Wednesday. I know it's Monday, Baradin. My phone tells me it's Monday. Monday, the 20th of May. Is what my phone tells me. Mr. Jack, 2.5 years and counting. I'm still waiting for you to visit me in Texas for your free Rangers baseball game. Thanks for being a constant source of inspiration. 2.5 years! That's insane. Thank you so much for being a supporter, a member of the channel for 2.5 years. That is a lot of time. You know, I've had, you know, I haven't had that many relationships last that long. Oh, man. Thank you so much, Jack. That's very kind of you. You're the best. What was the drama? Read the travel. Good afternoon, Captain Manrings. How are you doing? And thank you very much for the membership for 13 months. The lucky number 13. Skaven. Yes, yes. 13's important. The drama, read the travel. It was a bit of a quest. So, as some of you will know, I was at Warhammer World this weekend, testing out Age of Sigmar 4th edition and Spearhead. So, drama trying to get home, rail replacement buses. But it gets more fun, right? So I was staying with some friends in Belper for the weekend, and they dropped me off at Belper Station, and I got the train to Derby. Got the train to Derby, arrived at Derby, and there were two trains, right, heading to Birmingham New Street. The one that I was supposed to get was 20 minutes late, which meant I would have missed my rail replacement bus from Birmingham New Street to Cheltenham. So rail replacement buses are the worst. I hate them. I hate getting the bus because it's awful. It's always terrible. Especially this one because the air conditioning wasn't working. And they had a thermometer on board. And it was 28 degrees on the bus for the hour and 20 minutes that I was sat on that bus for. But yeah, so the train I was supposed to get from Derby was going to be 20 minutes late. Which meant I would have missed that bus. But there was one that was supposed to come 10 minutes after the one I was supposed to get, which I couldn't tell any reason why I shouldn't just get that one. So I got that one, because that one was on time. Ended up at Birmingham New Street. Ran to try and get the bus. And then there was a man there who said, oh, you know, we're holding the bus. We're holding the bus for 10 minutes so that the train that's been delayed, they'll be able to get on the bus. And I was like, good. So I panicked. I get really anxious around travel. So, like, when I have to get a train, I need to be there 15 minutes before I get on the train. Because I just know I'm going to miss it otherwise. Or at least my brain tells me I'm going to miss it. And if I arrive, like, 5 minutes before, I'm just panicked the entire time until I get in there. Even if I'm standing there for that whole 5 minutes, I just get really anxious with trains, right? So I was like 15 minutes ahead, and then I was at Derby, and I was panicking because I didn't have the time to figure out what I was doing. So I just got on the first Birmingham New Street train I could. Got on it, got there, ran for the bus to make sure I was in time. Oh yeah, we're holding it. Right, cool. But I put my bag in, and they were like, "Go on then, get on." And I was like, "Can't I just stand out here where it's a bit cold?" And I was like, "Nah, get on the bus." Cool. So I sat on the bus for an hour and 20 minutes in baking heat. I felt like I'd been broiled afterwards. It was horrible. It always happens as well. Whenever I travel on trains, I always seem to get the raw end of the deal. Because for whatever reason, they don't generally seem to want to make travel to the West Country easy on a Sunday. Anyway. Good afternoon. How are you all doing? Simon, I nearly made it to Warhammer World, but got sidetracked by damn kids. And you'd have made it if it wasn't for those pesky kids. That's a shame, Simon. It was good fun. It was good fun. Good, clean fun. I got to see my friends Chris and Meg, who I have not seen in almost 2 years. That was wonderful. Really loved that. It's like a reunification of old friends. You always love to see it. I got to meet some of you. Captain Mannerings, Laura, Gamix, got to meet you as well. Which is cool. That was really fun. And the subject of tonight's stream, I got to play Age of Sigmar 4th edition. And I bet you're all just dying to know what I thought about it. However, before I tell you what I thought about it, you should leave a like on the stream. Because that would make me really happy. Also, it helps promote the stream. More people come watch and join this incredible clique that we have. This incredible community. I'm seeing almost all green names in the chat, which is amazing. You're all members, which is incredible. It's just amazing. I love that. So yeah, if you could please leave a like on the stream. It's free. A free way to support this channel. However, if you would like to support me a little bit further, you can, of course, become a member yourself. You can gift some members, or you can drop a super chat if you have a real burning question that you want to interrupt my flow for. And I will answer, of course. Anyway, now that we've done all of that, AOS 4. What do we think about AOS 4.0? Well, guys, it's an absolute triumph. A triumph of a disaster on my heart, because it was so full of love for the game. No, honestly, right. So, AOS 4th edition. For those of you who are fans of AOS 4, AOS 3, 2, 1, for those of you who are fans of playing Age of Sigmar, you will be very, very happy with Age of Sigmar 4. Essentially, me and my crew, Adam, Rich, Chris, we sat down to play Age of Sigmar 4th edition. That was our first demo of the day. And we were just looking through the rules. We were playing with the Skaventide miniatures. Not all of them. We only had 5 Liberators, for example, and 20 Clan Rats. But we had most of the miniatures. Baradon280 has gifted a membership like an absolute boss. You are the first person today. You are the best. I love you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Put us on 520. 100 less and we'd have a fun number. However, we need 49 more to get to another fun number. Anyway, thank you very much, Baradon283. You are the best. So, AOS 4, right? It is not going to be, for those of you, like I said, for those of you who are fans of AOS 1, 2, and 3, for those of you who are fans of that, you are not going to be stranded playing that game. You're not going to sit down with it and go, oh my god, what the hell does any of it mean? You're going to pick up the game and you're just going to look at it and go, yep, all of this makes sense. It's all familiar. It's all great. There's a couple of terminology changes, of course. Things like health instead of wounds, but ultimately your vocabulary when you're playing won't really change. How many wounds has it done? 15. Cool, I've lost this many wounds. It doesn't really matter. But there are a couple of little sort of functional changes within the wording that makes the game just a little bit easier to follow, if you see what I mean. Now, The other thing that is really cool about the game, and I didn't know if I was going to like it until I had it contextually in front of me, is on your war scrolls, everything's color coded, right? So all of your abilities color coded as to when they happen. Now, once you figure out what the colors mean for which phase, so like red is the fight phase, for example, all you need to do is glance down at your book, presumably when the battle terms come out, or your cards, and if you see any red abilities, then you can read it. You don't have to retain the information. That one does that in the fight phase, and this one does that in the fight phase, and this one does that in the fight phase, and then have to kind of hold all that information in your head. It is a very clear visual aid that immediately leaps out at you that goes, this one, right here, these are the relevant abilities for what's happening in this current phase, which, let me tell you, just made it feel so streamlined. Like, I knew what to look for as I was going along. Is it colorblind friendly? I'm not entirely sure, Baradon. I think so. Based on the colors that I saw, they were varied enough in tone that it made sense to me. And it was also, like, the most important thing about it was also consistent. I find, like, with 40K's color coding, for example, in the codexes, sometimes it's not very consistent, or there are some tones that are just really close to each other. So you end up having to read it anyway to figure out, oh, it's a battle tactic, blah, 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 blah. But they color code it in a slightly strange way, in that 40K color codes its stratagems based on the type of stratagem it is, because really the only thing you need to know is if it's a battle tactic or not. Whereas in this, it's like red is for the, like I said, red is for the fight phase. So you go, which ones are my fight phase ones? This one, and this one. They do also have icons, Captain Mannerings. Yes, you're absolutely correct. So there's a fight phase icon that is attached to it, and then you just read what what that specific ability does. Now, I can tell you, for those of you who haven't seen, and I'm sure I'm not breaking anything because I've now seen it in a public space, is there is some really cool stuff that the Stormcast can do. I didn't really get to see what the Skaven did because Rich and I were too busy chopping them up into small pieces. But you know the rattling cannon, the big Gatling cannon? It fires 3d6 shots. And you can power it up to fire 6d6 shots, but every one you do roll to hit causes a mortal wound to yourself. So you will end up killing yourself. But 6d6 shots! That thing could fire out 36 rounds. That's obnoxious. But one of the things that we saw, like, for example, Stormcast fans out there, which made me very, very excited, was, again, I'll keep talking about the fight phase, because that was the thing that really kind of leapt out at me as being a really cool phase in terms of the changes of what happened. Firstly, the 3-inch move, the 3-inch engagement range, really good. Top draw. It means there's less messing about with having to make sure you pile everything in to be within an inch or 2-inch. This, that, and the other. You've just got a flat 3-inch. You can still pile in. All of that's great. You can pile in and do that stuff. But because you've got a 3-inch range, you might not necessarily have to most of the time. So one of the things that I thought was really cool about it, especially from Stormcast perspective, is old Mr. the Giant Axeman. He lets you pick a friendly Ruination unit, and they immediately fight after him, which is just a really, really powerful ability that has been in AOS 3, but also very, very familiar. So things like the Cavalier Marshal, he does that for a friendly unit of Cavaliers. So once he fights, if you select him to fight, the Cavaliers can then fight immediately after, instead of having to go bat, like that. You see what I mean? So there's that from that perspective. But what the big guy on the Griff Charger does, again, whose name completely forgets, is he has a fight phase activation that lets him fight twice, but he gets his second fight is a fights last. So that's just fantastic, right? I was really into that. Blessed Weapons is still in there for Stormcast fans. It goes off on a 6 though. It's quite hard to get off by the looks of things. I was really, really impressed. And like I said, as we were playing it, it just felt like I felt like I was playing Age of Sigmar, the same Age of Sigmar game that I've been playing for nearly 10 years, and just enjoying myself, right? I was just playing the game, and nothing was leaping out of me as being like, that's completely different and it doesn't make any sense, you know? The only thing I thought was slightly difficult for me to get a hold of, and I'll come to it in a minute with Spearhead, is that is just that things like the abilities for like mortal wounds on 6s to hit, for example, used to be written as an ability underneath, but now they're bumped up into the stat line for the weapon, which to me was like, you know, it was a case of that was a little bewildering, but we'll get to that in a minute. But before we do that, I'm going to say thank you to you guys who are dropping green postcards everywhere for the months of membership. Big Ron, I'm really excited for paint tutorial for rat ogres. Thank you, Ron. I'm very excited to make that tutorial for you as well. If indeed when I get the box. Who knows when I get the box? I don't know yet. I will just say this: we don't know any dates, and I do not know any dates. And that's not just me being like, oh, playing coy. I genuinely don't know any dates for when it's coming. But thank you very much for the month of membership, Big Ron, and Cameron for being a membership for 12 months. 1 whole year, baby. Let's go, baby. Thanks for 365 days of slaying the Grey, Josh. Couldn't have done it without you. Here's to the next 40,000 years. Couldn't agree more. If I live for the next 40,000 years and Warhammer continues for the next 40,000 years, then it would mean that I am a perpetual and I'll be having to deal with all the stuff that's going on in the Siege of Terror, right? You stole a clan rat. I didn't steal anything. I bought something, though. I bought one model. And it was this one. Any guesses as to what's in here? I think I think Captain Mannerings knows what's in here, so you're not allowed to answer. Any guesses? A Stormbird. I wish. It's not Raldoron, Annabelle. They didn't have Raldoron. I would have bought Raldoron as well. It is. Trying to get a hold on it. Ah! Chinsha! Master of the Keshig. There he is. I bought this because I've wanted that model for ages to go along with my my Khan that I did a little while ago. And I'm very compelled by the Horus Heresy at the moment because I'm listening to the Siege of Terror. I didn't realise that it had really seeped into me, but I really enjoyed Warhawk, and I know that he wasn't there for it, but I might slowly put together a Horus Heresy White Scars army in the next year or two. Have you noticed that the new Sororitas CP is essentially the old Sororitas BP? I don't know what those abbreviations mean, Barry. CP to me means command point. What does that mean? Canoness? Combat patrol, boarding patrol. Oh, I see. I'm completely, to be honest, Barry, I'm completely tuned out from 40k at the minute. I haven't really looked at it. Like yesterday, I saw that the sisters and the thingies had been previewed. What was it called? Genestealer cults. And I actually didn't look at what the battle forces were because I was like, cool, I won't be getting them, so I won't have to worry about it. Does it look like the... What was the Sisters Boarding Patrol? Sisters Boarding Patrol. Oh yeah, it does look very similar, doesn't it? Oh no, there's the swap of the... What are they called? You've got the Arcoflagellants. And you got the... Yeah. I mean, there are some similarities there. The thing is though, they've got to get rid of all of those... I think those might be the push fit, the monopose sisters, right? Is it the same ones? But yeah, I'm just completely checked out from 40k at the moment. I kind of just... I want a reason to care about 40k at the moment. I really do. Like, I miss it. I miss it in my life, but at the moment I'm just like, meh. Especially with AOS 4 just over the horizon, you know. But like the 10th edition so far has just it has not grabbed me. Not since Warhammer Fest, when they went, here's Leviathan! And I went, oh, that's really exciting! And I did Leviathan. I really enjoyed that. And then the Space Marines released was... Tyranids release was for me. And like, yeah, I'm just kind of checked out at the minute from 40k. Almost entirely. Which is a shame, because I do love 40k. I just don't love this edition. Hello, Conic Melter. You mean that unlimited rerolls, lethals, and devastating wounds don't do it for you? I wonder why. Yeah, I mean, my thing with 40k is nothing new has really happened. Not yet. Not really. I mean, of the things that were previewed, these were brand new at least, but it's still, I mean, it's still a Canoness with a jump pack, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Chaos Lord with a jump pack, Chaos Lord on foot, Genestealer Cults. The new Genestealer Cults model is really cool. I like it. It's interesting. It's different. It looks disgusting, and I love that. I think it looks great. I love the new Genestealer Cults model. But you know, at the moment, it's just like, here's a new Shield Captain. Cool. There's nothing really to write home about. And like, same thing, like the Deathwing. You know, is what it is. It's not on stilts though. Exactly, it's not on stilts. How long do you think before 11th? 2 years. Yeah, it won't be next June. It'll be the June after. July after. So you'll have... It usually goes, at least in my mind, AOS, then insert AN other thing. The last two kind of gap years between the two main games, it's been Contrast Paint. So conceivably next summer we could be looking at Contrast Paint version 3, like Wave 3. I don't think we will, but we could be looking at Contrast Paint Wave 3. But like I said, I don't know. I don't think we will. So it goes AOS, hobby products, or AN other thing. Last time out, for example, it was Horus Heresy and Contrast Paint. Age of Darkness box came out. AOS, blank year, 40k. AOS, blank year, 40k. Just goes like that. And everything's on a 3-year cycle, right? Have they officially said it's 3 years? No, they've not said it's officially that way, but it has been that way since, I want to say, since AOS 1 came out. What was your first AOS army? My first AOS army was Stormcast Eternals, and they remain, to this day, my favourite AOS army. Absolutely adore them. I love me Stormcast. Look, I have some emotional support Stormcast on my desk right now. Hello. Yeah, I just love my Stormcast. They're my favourites. Let's turn this on, shall we? Haven't turned this on for a while. See what happens. Battlefleet Gothic, that it's conceivable that could happen. Although box games like that generally tend to come out in like the autumn, like November time, that sort of thing. So like their two main games are 40k and AOS. So they get a big summer release because that's the thing that is like the core components of Warhammer. Then when you have things like everything else, Horus Heresy, the Old World, Necromunda, stuff like that. If it's going to get a big thing, you'll be like August, between August and December, usually. I think the Old World releasing in January was because it had to move. Personally, I don't think it was meant to. I think it was meant to come out in time for Christmas. Do you perceive the Old World as a success? Why or why not? At the moment, I don't know if it's whether it's possible to judge it. It's not a game that has all of its components out yet. So to write it off at this point is a little bit short-sighted. But to say it's the best game ever is a little bit silly, if you see what I mean. So like we've had what, 4 factions? 3 factions. Are the Dwarven Holds out yet? Have they come out yet? I don't think they have. Because we've had Younggrim and that previewed. Dwarven Holds Warhammer. They were previewed at Adepticon, but the Dwarven Mountain Holds Battalion, I don't think it has come out yet, has it? So, and there were, what, there's like at least 9 factions in the Old World that are supported factions. Has this come out? No, I need to know. Games Workshop. UK. Shop. The Old World. No, Kingdoms of Bretonnia, Tomb Kings of Khemri, and Orc and Goblin Tribes. Yeah, so the Dwarven Holds haven't come out yet. So there's still High Elves. There's still High Elves, the Empire, Wood Elves, yet to come, for example. Chaos Warriors, they're yet to come out. All that kind of thing. So, yeah, I just, at this point, I don't think you can really judge it, because until all of those factions are out, it's impossible to say, really. Is the pace that they're going at good enough? I don't know. I probably think not really, but like releasing all those factions like 2 a month for like the first 6 months of the year would have just been overwhelming for the community at large, I think. So yeah. Once may I ask, why do you always highlight black armor with Dawnstone / Administratum Grey and not Thunderhawk / Fenrisian, which seems to be what everyone else is doing, trying to learn your reasoning? I don't always use Dawnstone and Administratum Grey. The reason I don't always use Fenrisian and Thunderhawk Blue is because it's not always appropriate. Sometimes when you look at black armor, it is heavy and it has got... Basically, when a new model kit comes out and it's got black armor, look at the edges. If it's not blue, then it's not Thunderhawk. Or Rust Grey. I use Rust Grey and Fenrisian Grey. Thunderhawk's okay, but I think it's a little bit too blue for me. But I tend to use Rust Grey and Fenrisian Grey. But yeah, it's because it's not always the right colour. More often than not, Dawnstone Administratum just looks a bit better. But like, for example, this Varangard that I painted, that's blue. You can see it on the edges. See it just there? That's got blue on it. Sometimes I use Cyberite green and Cabalite green. How would you recommend painting a Nurgle Slaves to Darkness? Ooh, that's a question and a half, isn't it? I'd probably look at just using Death Guard recipes. Do you have a purple mix that you would recommend instead of Thunderhawk / Fenrisian? Yeah. You could use... What have I done in the past? Demonette Hide and Slaanesh Grey. That's a purple mix you can use for black. I've done that in the past. But yeah. So, anyway. This weekend, we played AOS 4. But we also played Spearhead. Now, you know I've been in the midst of I've been in the midst of doing Project Spearhead. I did a ton of Death Guard. I was hoping you could have something different than that answer. Oh, well, I mean, another good recipe that you could use, Travis, is if you check out my, what's it called? What are they called? Hang on. I'll get there in a second. 1 minute. Stop being impatient. 1 second. Warhipster, Maggotkin of Nurgle. If you check out things like my Harbinger of Decay or Putrid Blight Kings, I do some pretty cool, very dark green armor in that. That might help you for some Nurgle stuff. A little bit different to Death Guard green. Fake Street Spirit has been a member for 3 months. So glad to have found this corner of the Tinterweb. I'm glad you found us, Fake Street Spirit, and thank you very much for the 3 months of membership. Is Chaos Black a good primer? It's a very good primer. It's a very, very, very good primer. Hello, Dwarven Darkness. How are you? I'm making my way through the Cruel Boys Spearhead in prep for AOS 4. I dropped a pic of the Banner Bearer in Discord. Did you now? Where did you put it? Did you put it in show off your stuff? Ah, yes, there you did. Hey, he's looking great, Baradon. Oh, I love it. I did mine as well. I've been doing my Auric War Clans one. As an example. We did this. So this is a video that's coming out very, very soon. That might help you in your quest. But let's go back to this. Spearhead, Project Spearhead. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I was worried that I might be throwing my lot in with Spearhead, and then it might be terrible, and then I'd have to come on here and be like, guys, I'm really sorry. I lied to you. It was really bad, and I didn't like it. But I'm happy to report that Spearhead is freaking awesome. It's very, 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 very good. Did you happen to find a spare Belcher banner boss? Okay, Cameron. You know what? That was on my list of things to do on Friday, and because my brain is so stupid, I literally, it was the one thing I forgot to do. But I also forgot to take a drink with me on the train, so I got cooked on the way to Nottingham. Let me go and grab the box of opportunity, and I will literally look for it now. Hey. This is my box of everything that's death and destruction. Is it Detolfs you use for display? Yes. Yes, it is, Thomas. Okay, what are you? You are... That's a Gordrak sprue. What's that? That's Gut Rippers. So that... Yes. That's the one you want, isn't it? This is the sprue you need, isn't it? I'm pretty certain that's the sprue you need. This one? There's the banner, right? This is what my life is like, right? I have large boxes like this that is just full of stuff. So, for example, for those of you wondering, Blood Knights, Laukavai, Braggett's Bottle Snatchers, a Terrorgeist, Soulblight Gravelords, Nagash is in here. There you go. Nagash, Supreme Lord of the Undead. That's how we roll. That's how we roll. So this would make sense that this is the sprue that has the big guy, 3 man skewer bolt boys, and the Belcher banner. Hello, James Matthias. How are you doing? I'll send you the sprue camera, and it's all good. I don't need the rest of it. Now comes the problem. Now I have to go and put the box back, and I just had to dig it out from under a bunch of other boxes. At least it was easy. This is why we need to move, because my room is an obstacle course. I can't just like put it... Let's just put it here. Move that out of the way. And that. That doesn't need to be there. I'll clamber over it later. Yeah, just let me know. I'll find an envelope or something to put it in. There you go. Job ticked off. That's what we like to see. Anyway, now that we've rectified my brain interrupting me from Friday, so that I didn't end up completing my list of things to do, we can get back to what we're really talking about. Spearhead. So, Spearhead. How was it? Well, I really liked it. So we played a game of Spearhead of Lumineth Realm Lords versus Nighthaunt. And we only played 2 turns, right? And again, the fundamental mechanics of AOS 4, easy to remember, all that good stuff. But it felt fast-paced. It felt furious. The action happens straight away because the board is really small. really small. And I love that the objectives are printed on the board itself. That's really good. Because what then happens is you have a bunch of cards that get drawn that tell you specifically, like, you will score an extra point for holding the Dragon Dais, which is the boy in the middle, the objective in the middle of the table. Big Ron, I've just seen your super chat. Thank you very much for the $5. Have you painted Skaven Stormfiends yet, and how would you paint their armor? I've not painted Stormfiends, but I have painted Thanquol and Bone Ripper, so that might help you. So there's a Contrast Plus how to paint Thanquol and Bone Ripper. There's also a Contrast Plus how to paint a Skaven Deathmaster. So I'm already ahead. I've got 2 whole Skaven videos already. And we will have like 10 more when the box comes out. If Games Workshop chooses to send it to me. If Games Workshop does not choose to send it to me, then you won't get my content for at least 2 weeks after the day of release. But we shall find out, of course, naturally. We shall see what happens. Can the chair talk? The chair can't. I've asked it. I've had many a conversation with my chair, and it doesn't really have many words, other than, please stop sitting on me, which it does tend to do from time to time. Go outside and touch grass, Josh, is what it says to me. Doesn't GW send you everything? They do not. They send me whatever they want to send me. Does it do coffee? Does it make coffee or do anything useful? Well, it keeps me comfortable when I paint for 16 hours a day. So, if you find my content useful, then in many ways the chair is responsible for that. So my chair makes content in some ways. So I guess really, you don't even need me. You could just have the chair. We saw it move on its own. Yeah, it's because the room is on a slant. So if I just sit like this and don't anchor my foot, it will eventually just start to go this way. Like that. It's fun. How is life? How is the world? Oh, and look. We're all the way around now. Something just broke. No idea what. Something probably fell off a table. So yeah. So Spearhead, you have all of the objectives printed on the board, which makes it nice and easy. There's no arguing about distances. It's just thing, objective, right? And then you have a series of cards. Now, where I got a little bit oh no, we're going into this, James, now. You haven't missed anything. So as we were for those of you, if you missed it, James, I played a game of Spearhead, played 2 turns of a game of Spearhead, of Lumineth Realmlords versus Nighthaunt. Have you seen anything about Path to Glory? Hoping there's a decent way to run up a Spearhead into a narrative force. I haven't seen anything about Path to Glory yet, James Cameron Clark. I will know more once the book is out, I think. They haven't previewed that much about Path to Glory. I would guess that you probably can just buy a Spearhead and ramp it up. It almost wouldn't surprise me if the recommended path to getting Path to Glory, the recommended path to Glory in Age of Sigmar is buy a Spearhead, play Spearhead, build up on it using Path to Glory to get to 2,000 points. 2,000 points, then play competitive. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the way they kind of lay it out in the books. But once I know more, I will tell you, because I'm interested in Path to Glory as well. Because obviously I'm in the midst of Project Spearhead, getting all of these ready. I want to bump these. I want to bump these armies up that I haven't already bumped up. I don't need to bump up the Sylvaneth or the Stormcast, but indeed we shall. Slaves to Darkness I also don't need to bump up, because I've got 4,000 points of that. But We shall see. Or at Warclans as well. Anyway, so Spearhead. It is fast-paced. It is frenetic. The action happens immediately because the board is so darn small. Now, as we were playing with Lumineth, they have an ability. You pick one of your units, and it's a prayer from the Scenari Cathala, I think. You roll the dice. If it goes off on a 3+, one of your units gets double movement. So you can just throw your Blade Lords right at your opponent turn 1. You're in combat immediately. Being cagey is not going to work in Spearhead. So like backlining everything, because everything's so close. So if you don't like, I can see how this game is going to get really tactical for super competitive play, because like if you just try and backline everything and stay out of combat like this, it's not gonna work. It absolutely isn't gonna work, because everything is really, really, really close. So it's fast paced, it's frenetic, it's fun. Lumineth Realm Lords, for example, that was the army I was playing. Wardens and Sentinels have the reinforcement, so if your opponent kills an entire unit of Wardens, they come back once per game. Are you allowed to talk about army special rules? Was that not part of the NDA from the event? There was no NDA from the event. It's a public open event. I can talk about it as much as I like. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you what I saw. It was public, and like I said, it was a public open event, so literally 200-300 people have seen the same thing as me. Sentinels come back. Yes, they do. However, what we discovered so we were playing Nighthaunt, right? And because Nighthaunt, for those of you who are Nighthaunt fans, Nighthaunt are still immune to rend. So, did Sentinels have crit mortals on their shooting? If I remember rightly, no, they didn't. They had crit auto wound on their shooting, if I can remember rightly. You're asking me what will be the last day for Tales for May. Well, so the deadline is the 31st. That's a Friday. So the Tales stream should be on the 5th of June. So June 4th. Don't tell anyone, but I'll let you submit it on June 4th. That'll be the last day. But just like, keep that to yourself. Just you and the 97 other people watching. June 4th. That's the secret deadline. No one can know. June 4th. Anyway. Spearhead. Like I said, really fast, really frenetic, really cool. And like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of tactical nuance to it. I think it's really good for like just your basic game, just push things into the middle and punch each other. But I could absolutely see how it was really easy to learn, like AOS has always been. Really easy to learn, very difficult to master. And I thought that was absolutely fantastic as I was playing it, right? So one of the things that you could do, for example, as the person who was leading us through the game was talking about, was saying you could commit war crimes at this point by doing something really mean. So if you've got a unit, for example, that is reinforceable, so when it dies, it comes back next turn, right? And only once. Each unit can only do it once if it has the little red circle in the top corner. What you could do, for example, is you could do a fallback move as a command, or as an ability. But when you fall back in AOS now, you take D3 mortal wounds. So if you're down to your last guy, fall back, kill him, you can then reinforce the unit and bring the whole lot on. So you lose one guy to bring back 10. Do you see what I mean? And that is a really cool, like, thinking about that, it was like, that's really cool. That's just a very, 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 very cool tactical idea to use. So it's a way of like, yeah, you lose the unit, but you're replacing it with a unit of 10, right? And stuff like died quick. Yeah, our wardens just got absolutely punted very easily. We killed some Grimghast Reapers with them very easily, and then got absolutely punted in the face. Also, speaking of tales, did I handle my most recent submission correctly? I just put it in the Discord server, but I want to make sure there weren't any submission rules I didn't know about. If you've dropped it in Tales Season 2 submissions, I will see it. Is this you with Stormcast Annihilators with Grand Hammers? Is that you? All of the usernames get truncated when I'm live. Hello, Mr. Adam. Yeah, so you've got it in the Tales Season 2 submissions server. So you're all good. I will see it. If you put it anywhere else, I won't see it. But you put it in there, I will see it. So you're all good. Yeah, so when I'm live, because I'm on streamer mode, so that it doesn't ping off and make loads of noises whilst we're streaming, I can't see what any of your usernames are. I just have to try and remember what your avatar pictures look like. So, like, for example, I know Flying Muttley, but and I know Captain Manrings, but I don't know your one. And there we go, I found you. So there you go. How are you doing, Adam? You okay? You recovered from the weekend? How do we join the Discord? You should be able to join the Discord as a member or a Patreon subscriber, and it should be in your perks. If you go to the community tab as a member of YouTube, there is a link I posted there to remind everybody that's how you get in, and so you can just follow that link. It's a members only post though, because it's a members only benefit. If you want to join the Patreon, you have to become a member or hope that somebody gifts you one. Make sure you've got it turned on. But yeah, do all that good stuff because, you know, it's very, very good. Would you paint Lumineth Realm Lord's Vanguard as Lothan Seaguard? I heard you mention it in a previous stream. That is my plan to do that, Thomas. I've got a very busy week ahead of me, and I'm hoping to get the Lumineth Spearhead done. Happy Monday to you too, Sean. Hope you're doing well. Hello, Star Pilot 94. How are you doing? Are you okay? Right, yeah. So, Spearhead. The only thing I thought was a little bit, and it's only because I've not encountered it before, right? And it would take me a whole game to get used to it. I was used to it by the end of it, but it's just remembering to draw the cards at the right time. But the really cool thing with the cards is, right, and I've already previewed this, but one of the cool things with the cards is you have your battle tactics, which is how you score points, like your objectives or secondaries for 40k fans out there. But you also have your twist deck. And there's like 6 twists, but you play 4 turns. So it's possible that no 2 games will ever be the same of Spearhead. Of course, you know, there's a limited number of combinations and possibilities, so you will eventually have a mirror game of Spearhead if you play it enough. But what you have with Spearhead is initially I was like, oh, I'm not used to the drawing of the cards for AOS 4, so that was a little bewildering at first, but it was a minor barrier for my head. So I think, like I said, by the end of a whole game, I would absolutely be used to it. And you just have to remember that the twist is there. That was the thing that the guy who was leading us, John, he kept saying, I keep forgetting this. So, you know, he's played a lot of it, but he'd done a lot of demos that day. But it was really cool, right? And so, like, the battle tactics that you draw, and this is the cool thing that I was about to say, but ADHD brain. The battle tactics you draw will give you an objective. So, for example, go and capture the middle. Or it will have a command on it, which you could do instead. So if, for example, you draw a card that's like, oh, I don't think I can score that, or it's completely pointless, but the command on it is really good, you can use the command instead. And that can be a powerful boost for you. The other thing with the twist deck is the twist deck normally only ever favors the underdog. So there's a tactical reasoning here to not necessarily score all of your points right away, because if you don't score all of your points right away, and your opponent does, you become the underdog, and then you get the benefit for the twist, where you might get a powerful ability to take you into the next thing. So again, turn 3, turn 4, maybe in turn 3 you want to be behind, so that you get that powerful boost for the end in the last turn. So it's all these kinds of really cool little tactical nuances to the game that make it super exciting. And because there's so many different combinations and things that can be done in this game with the twists, it's not like Combat Patrol where there's very little replayability in Combat Patrol, right? You've got the double-sided map, which is Akshi and Gyron, and there is an Akshi deck, which says to me that there's a Gyron deck as well for the twists. So there's replayability in it. So even if for example if Adam comes down to my house and we say we're going to play Spearhead and we're going to play 6 games of Spearhead, and what we're going to do is we're going to do 6 games of Slaves to Darkness versus Stormcast Eternals, it can be a completely different game each and every single time. Whereas I think when you counter that with Combat Patrol as it stands at the moment, it's going to be fairly consistent, which might be something that you appreciate about a small scale game. But for me with this, if Spearhead is the only way to enjoy it, or the only way you possibly can enjoy a game, for example, you don't have space, or you live in a studio flat or something like that, or your friends don't have 2,000 point armies, but they're interested in getting into it, it means that it's always going to be different, and there's variation and there's tactical nuance to it. And I was like, I was doing a lot of unpacking in my head mentally on the way back, in between trying to stay awake in the blistering heat on the bus. And I was kind of like, honestly, I think this game is going to be super popular for a competitive mode, but also as a beginner's mode. And I think that speaks to the genius of Spearhead and how good it was. And I really appreciated that we didn't use the Skaventide miniatures again. Like I said, we used Lumineth and Nighthaunt, and that was great. And the Lumineth, for example, they have what was their thing? So Adam will remember it as well as I do. In fact, he'll probably remember it better than me because he's got that clever brain. Every turn they pick an ability. So one of them is the what's it called? Oh God. There's a fight. There's a fight thing which they can do, which I think is fight after one another. That was it. Yeah. So Lumineth can pick the ability to fight one after the other immediately. So 2 actions. So two attack actions in a row, like with that Stormcast thing I was talking about earlier. But then there's also the -1 to hit, and they pick one or the other. They don't have both. So yeah, it's Lumineth were pretty cool. I didn't get to see what everyone does, which would have been really cool, and also far too much information. And I'd be sat here going, I think it was good. But honestly, I'm not worried at all now. The only questions I have now are specifically faction-based for Age of Sigmar. And wait, Lumineth Realm Lords are getting the 2 units fight in Spearhead. Yes. Yes, they are. But it's a choice between Lightning Reflexes or Shining Company, as Elecman says. This is just in Spearhead, Elecman. And it makes sense in Spearhead. If they had both, it would be obnoxious. So, yeah, I honestly, I'm not worried at all about how the game plays. I think they've crushed it, to be honest. And I think Spearhead is also going to crush it. I think it's going to be really popular. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to film some Spearhead games. Will Fourth have battle tomes? I would absolutely assume that it will do, Thomas. Not from the beginning, because it's going to be indexed. But, guys, if you're worried about the game completely changing or being, you know, a totally different game from what you're used to playing, do not be. You will pick it up and you'll go, oh, hello, old friend. I see you've got a haircut. And I see you've bought a new shirt. But ultimately, it's still the same person underneath there. There's all the DNA of the game that I know and love. And my worry about how the game plays has evaporated, basically. I'm super excited for this edition. It's going to be incredible. And if it's not, well, I don't think, I think everything that I've experienced and read and seen and done, I just can't see how this is going to be bad. You know? Of course, there could be something hiding. We never know. We don't know all the contents of the General's Handbook, for example. We don't know that yet. We don't know how the match play for AOS is going to work precisely, you know, all that kind of thing. So some of those things might not be as clean as this. But so far, the core box, core rules, and the Spearhead game mode, the two things I'm most excited for, have been absolutely top bananas. So, James says, my real worry is that AOS is outclassing and outpacing 40k in models, rules, and releases. Some bad decisions, i.e. dumping entire ranges, and I don't want to play with my 40k toys anymore. So I talked a little bit about this earlier. From my perspective, James, I agree. I have completely tuned out of 40k at the moment. I just don't care about it at all, which is really bad because I love 40k. Now, usually, I think what happens at Games Workshop is when something is truly exceptional by something else, the standards are raised elsewhere, as it should be, right? AOS as a game, when it first dropped, not when it first dropped, once General's Handbook came out and the vibe of it had settled and it had gotten into a groove and it was starting to build up, 40k took notice and changed its game entirely. And 8th edition was a true triumph of 40k. So if AOS 4 is a rip-roaring success, it forces 40k to take notice and stand up, which it will do. It has to do that. So, like I said, I'm absolutely with you on that, because I don't want to not play 40k. I don't want to not like 40k. I love 40k. I have loved 40k for a very, 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 very long time. And what I know is going to happen, and I have to believe in this because that has been my experience of Games Workshop as a business, is that if something flourishes, it makes everybody else take notice. So if AOS is, like I said, a rip-roaring success, guarantee you the next edition of Combat Patrol for 40k will be absolutely bonkers, and it'll be incredible. Because Combat Patrol exists from 40k as an idea, but it's not very fleshed out at all. And AOS has gone, this is how you do it. So 40k will go, cool, we'll take that framework and we'll make it even better. Because 8th edition played great. You know, there's a couple of things that I wish were different about it, because I view most things through an AOS lens now, because it's my priority of favorite. But I honestly, I wouldn't. I only ever have optimism in this moment. That's probably because of the way my brain is wired. Because I don't want to think that I've painted all those 40k models and be like, oh, never going to touch them ever again. There's 10,000 points of Blood Angels out there, man. They need to be used. But yeah, I think usually what they do is they take notice of each other and they push it right up. I would say that, and this is why I kind of think, like, when I was talking earlier about the release schedule, it goes AOS, hobby product / AN other, and then 40k. It feels like 40k comes first, but it's not. I think Leviathan is the end of the previous cycle, and AOS 4 is the beginning of the next cycle of stuff. So what we'll see is 40k 11, theoretically, should be absolutely bang tidy. And I think it can only get better as well, because it has fallen a little bit flat at the beginning. And like I said, I've completely mentally checked out of 40k, but I don't want to be 40k checked out, but I don't want to have to force myself to enjoy it, and especially not when I'm going like, hey, for AOS. I stole a Slaves to Darkness army off of eBay over the... Stole a Slaves to Darkness army off of eBay over the weekend. 10 chosen, Mounted Lord on Karkadrak, War Chariot, Magnetrize for both Horse and Karkadrak, Ogroid Myrmidon, Cards Book and Demon Prince, $140. Brian, that's an absolute bargain. You just need what? A Lord, 5 Knights, and 10 Warriors to play the Spearhead. Something like that. That's an absolute bargain. Well done. Well done, sir. Warhipster, for the dark internal cloak for sisters, if no contrast, how would you paint and highlight, assuming red outer cloak? How would I paint it if I wasn't using contrast paint? Is that what you're asking? Because the answer to that is I wouldn't not use contrast paint. I'd probably use Cygor Brown. I'd go for a brown. If you want to do it with not contrast paint, Rhinox Hide, shade it with Reikland Flesh Shade or Caribou Crimson to give it a red tint, and then highlight it with a red brown. Scrag Brown or something, maybe? I don't know. But I would use Cygor Brown. Or I would do what I think I've done in the past, which is paint the whole thing red, including the inside, and then put Cygor Brown over it. But I just wouldn't not use contrast paint, that's the thing. Because it wouldn't make sense to me to do that. You see what I mean? You know. I'm not the guy to go to for a classic paint scheme. Do we know if Dark Oath is getting its own Spearhead? I don't know yet, Brian. I think it might. It would make sense if it did, but I just don't know. That's why I'm like, I don't know if I need to, because I've done 10 of the, and I need to put the Fell Riders video out. I'll put that out this week, I think. Dark Oath Fell Riders coming this week. I don't know for sure if it is. It would make sense if it does, though. Just the contents of a box to be a Spearhead. I also, as well, would say never as well. I think with this, it wouldn't surprise me if there comes a time where you can use things like Regiments of Renown and stuff like that for it. Does Spearhead feel too small scale or maybe cramped on the small footprint? I don't think it feels too small scale or cramped. It's just it's gonna be it's gonna be more it's gonna be more what's the word? It's more fast paced, basically. Um, you're not standing around at any point. Let me put it that way. So, like, you know how, like, when you play a game of 40k or AOS on a big board, you can spend an entire turn not doing anything and just scoring points in corners. And yeah, I mean, depending on your opponent and the army that you're using, you might be able to do that in Spearhead, but you just get straight into the action. There's no messing about. So in some ways, it's kind of like a zooming in on the middle of the board. And at that point, it didn't feel like it was too. It didn't feel like it was too cramped. It might feel cramped if you play like two armies that reinforce everything on the board at the same time. But like stuff goes quickly. Um, like stuff dies, right? So like if you were, it might feel cramped if you play like Soulblight Gravelords versus Soulblight Gravelords, because there'll be tons of miniatures on the table in that confined space. Um, but ultimately, like I said, like you just get straight into it. Like you don't have to position to you don't have to move up 12 inches to shoot. Do you know what I mean? Any tips on doing bases with an Ulgu theme? That is a great question. Ulgu's a bit of a strange one because, like, we've never really visited there before. Um, what you can kind of go for though is like, well, the slight problem is like I always think of Ulgu as being purple, even though that's Shaiish. Um, I think um, going for things like dark sand, or things like you could use, for example, astrogranite, which is grey, and then shade it with like, I mean, you could go for purple, um, like just really, really kind of dark purples, or you could go for like a cold blue, something like what would we say? Maybe something like Teclis blue as like a dry brush, maybe. They're interesting though, Olgu, because like I said, you want to go for kind of shadowy colours. You almost, what you could do is put like astrogranite on the base and then paint it black, and then use like a dark purple, or a dark, or like a mid blue, so something like Demonette Hide or something like that, to dry brush it in places to add that kind of darker feel to it. Um, you could go for something like the Arcane Wasteland that I did, but it looks quite it's quite magical, but it might work. Finish the statement. Actions are rubbish. I hate actions. I don't like them. I kind of think smooth and lightly undulating terrain. Yeah. Um, How would you paint the coat on Belladama Volga? Belladama Volga. Let me have a look. First of the Virkos. Oh, that's an interesting colour, isn't it? So the trim, I would probably... That is a very... Hang on, I need a better picture. Show me the gallery. Show me your ways. There we go. What colour is that? What are they using there? I wonder if it's in the app. That'll help me. Let's have a look. Paint by model. Age of Sigmar. Belladama Volga. Yeah, there we go. Dark grey. What are they saying? Mechanicus Standard Grey. Null Oil. Dawnstone. I don't believe that for 1 minute. That's not that colour at all. You could possibly go for like Space Wolves grey over the top of the entirety of the coat to get the trim that colour. And then use possibly like 1-to-1 mix of Lamy Medium and Black Templar over the darker parts and just see how that looks. Maybe do a second layer of that if it's not quite dark enough to get that sort of Mechanica Standard Grey-esque. With the Space Wolves Grey acting as the pre-shade, as it were. That might be how I would do it. Raise Banners is coming back for 40k. Yay! What are you going to do? Raise banner, raise banner, raise banner. Cool. 15 points. Done. I hate them. I hate actions so much. They're completely uninteractive with your opponent. If there was an action that actually interacted with your opponent, like, for example, if you could do an action where it was to call in an orbital bombardment and it takes 2 turns of a unit trying to do it, I have to be able to see the spot on the board and then do it, and then you score 10 points maybe for actually doing it, and it interacts with your opponent, which means they actually have to try and stop you, then it would be great. But otherwise, no. I hate it. I really don't like actions. They're the worst. Especially when you build your army in a certain way, where you go, oh, these guys, they're only there to literally just do actions, to go and stand in corners of the table. Great. It's a super engaging gameplay. MK10 has become a member. Thank you very much. Is it Mark 10 or MK10? Thank you very much. You're our first new member of the day. We had 1 gifted from Baradon. So we're on 2. 2 new members for today. Let's bump those numbers, shall we? I see a few grey names in the chat. Loved your Vash Tor tutorial. Any plans to do a contrast video on the other demon engines? Not at the moment, Josh, but there will be a time when I will do them. That's why people, including myself, don't like battle tactics. But with battle tactics, there are some that are non-interactive and there are some that are. So, like, for example, the ones that we drew were things like take the middle objective. in Spearhead. Take the middle objective. Well, you're not interacting with your opponent, but they're sure as hell going to interact with you if they're not in the middle. Or if they are in the middle, you're interacting with your opponent. Or one like we had, one of the battle tactics that we drew was slay the warlord. Slay the leader. Slay your opponent's general, whatever it was called. That's what I mean. There weren't battle tactics that were like, you score 100 points if you have a model in each corner of the board. Insights on how to achieve the Myrmidesh Painbringer's cloth. It's a really lovely purple/wine. The Citadel paint app mentions using Baraknar Burgundy and Nuln Oil. Can that be achieved with contrast? Myrmidesh Painbringers. Let me have a looky look. Yeah, so the way I've achieved this colour in the past is to do Shyish purple and then put Volupus pink over the top of it. And you get that colour, basically. Another way of doing it is to use Sigval Burgundy and then put Volupus pink over the top of it. Or, you know, however you like. But so, like, yeah, you get Shyish purple followed by Volupus pink will get you that colour. You can also try Leviathan purple followed by Volupus pink, but I don't think I've actually tried that myself yet. That would be how I would get that purple, though. MK, my initials. Cool. MK10 Gaming. Thank you very much for becoming a member. You're a legend. I feel like Actions is GW's attempt to make troops useful, but then people just take cheaper chaff units instead. Exactly. It's, why spend 100 points on a unit of intercessors when you can spend a unit of 45? You can spend 30 points on a unit of servitors who do the same thing. And then they go, oh, but only units... Oh, I despise Actions in 40k. I think they're the worst. Here's Mr. Reza Prime. He claims to be the greatest Stormcast player ever. I like it. I like that confidence. It's a good look on you, bud. Long-time lurker, first time commenting, but any tips for painting a Star Drake? Got one and found you don't have a guide on now. I'm terrified of it. No, let me have a look. Star Drake, Lord Celestant on Star Drake. Are you painting it as a Lord Celestant on Star Drake or as a Drakesworn Templar? Because they show two different colour schemes for that. Or indeed, are you hoping to do something completely custom? At which point, I don't know how I can help you. Sometimes I get questions of, how should I paint my custom chapter? And I'm like, I don't know, how do you want to paint it? What colours would you recommend? For what? I don't know how to answer your question. Any hints at AOS 4 launch date given at the weekend? No, there were no hints, unfortunately. And I have no information. I wish I did. Then I'd be able to plan my life. But as it stands, I can't plan my life. What colour, please? Green. All the hints were in the Sunday preview. Were there? Did I miss something? Warhammer community. Let's have a look. Next week. Abraxas Varan Spears on the way. Yes. Brand's Oathbound. That's on the way. A Gunnar Brand novel from Dark Oath is on the way. Dark Oath Chieftain on Warsteed. Wilderfiend. Marauders. Fell Riders. Nexus Chaotica. And Sakar, Fang of New Lamius. A lot of Slaves to Darkness. And then a vampire. And an elf lady with wings. I mean, the last Dawnbringers book is on the way. A fancy special edition is also on the way to complete your collection in style. I think I'm just being stupid and I can't see any hints. I honestly have no idea. Didn't they accidentally leak the date already? I don't know. I have no idea when it's coming. Lord Celestin, box art style. Like it. I like to see it. Love to see it. Okay, so. How would I paint this? So all the dark blue scales, what I would probably do is I would probably use Talassar blue and then Ultramarines blue over the top of that. I would then probably highlight it by dry brushing it with something like Lothern blue, or if you want it to be a colder, I would use Hoeth blue. We do not want ads, thank you. And it would mean that the blue would look like a similar colour. You see how the scales on the box art of the Lord Celestin and Stardrake are similar to the colour of the armour? That's how I would do the armour and the dark blue scales. As for the brighter colour, the kind of more softer bluey bits, this is where we kind of veer into a question mark of how in the hell would we do this. So Tyran blue is an option here if you prime the whole thing in white. If you don't prime the whole thing in white, you could go for something like a 2-to-1 mix of contrast medium and Frostheart, perhaps, because that will bring it out to be sort of like a similar colour to how I do the Lumineth trousers, for example. Or, if you wanted to be a little bit colder, you could go for something like Space Wolves Grey over all of that, although that would add a little bit too much cold to it. Aethermatic blue isn't right for this at all. You want it to be blue tinted, but you don't want it to be like that sort of weird aquamarine that Aethermatic blue is. So yeah, you could go for that thinned down Frostheart to get the inner scales and dry brush that up with some maybe some blue horror, for example. Did I say thinned down Aethermatic, or did I say thinned down Frostheart? Basically, Aethermatic blue is not the right choice here. Thinned down Frostheart though, that would work. 2-to-1 for the inner scales. Outer scales again, like I said. Talassar blue followed by Ultramarines blue would be how I would do it. As for the red of the wings, you'd probably want to get the whole thing, hit the whole wing membrane with Blood Angels red, and then use probably Wildwood actually to blend in that dark brown. Would probably be how I would do it. Teeth and claws and horns, combination of black, and if you want to do the blend on the horns, you blend that into the grey. That's probably how I would do it. And as for like the darker scales along this, if you paint them over with the blue, you see that there's the little red ones here and there. If you paint them over the blue and then put the red over the top, it'll work. Is probably how I would do it. I reckon we're looking at an announcement of pre-order in 3 to 4 weeks once all this stuff is out and the faction focuses are done. Yeah. Yeah, it's not far away. I can't imagine that it's going to be longer than maybe 5 weeks. Yeah, like I said, it can't be far away. Once I know, I probably won't be allowed to tell you. And if I don't know, and then it goes up on pre-order, then I wasn't sent the box. Hi, Tiago. How you doing? The terraforming action announced about Pariah Nexus is at least a functional action that can reward or punish people for being aggressive. I haven't seen that. Honestly, like I said, whenever I see something for 40k at the minute, I just tune out. I just like, oh, cool. 40k's getting something. So overall thoughts on the event. Did you do any of the stuff on Sunday? No, I didn't do anything on the Sunday. I didn't want to. I wasn't in the mood. I didn't book any of the tickets anyway either. And Justin Ward has gifted 10 of the finest Warhipster memberships. Justin, you're an absolute legend. Mr. Liam Dempsey is here. Hi, Liam. Look at how my arm wobbles. Oh, dear. How to make yourself feel super self-conscious. Just wanted to say thanks for all the painting tips. You're very, very welcome. I'm always happy to dispense with the painting advice. Left, right and centre. That's what we do. But thank you very much for the 10 gifted membership. That puts us on 12 for today. That's exceptional. Thank you. You're a legend. Biggest donator today, Justin. So you win the prize. Good evening, Black Hole Eyes. Thanks, man. You make it sound so easy. Well, look, I paint all day, every day, so it's only because I sit and stare at colour all the time that I'm able to go, oh, I think it's that. How are you, Mr. the Josh? I am very well, Mr. the Liam. How are you? Are you okay? Are you excited for Age of Sigmar 4th edition? Any advice for Liam painting 100 minis in one stream? 3 colour minimum, because otherwise you'll go blind. I've not painted 100 minis in one stream. The most I did was 42 minis in one stream, and it took me 24 hours. It was how I did my Sylvaneth. I have decided that I'm going to focus on painting a Spearhead. Which Spearhead are you doing? Stormcast? Lumineth? Which one are you going to do, Liam? Old Stormcast, because I have it already started. Nice. It's a good one. It's a good set, that. I'm really excited. Part of me kind of would... part of me would kind of wanted to try out the Stormcast, the old one in Spearhead. We did try out Lumineth, and I thought they were really cool. What do you think about the new Mechanicum models, Josh? The Thanatar was massive. Oh, incredible! Absolutely ridiculous that there's a plastic Thanatar. Absolutely insane. And I love it. Love to see it. You tried out Ideneth for Spearhead. Yeah, no, Lumineth played really fun. I thought they were great. There's a Spearhead for Oldcast. No, it's the current Spearhead box that we have, Alec, man. So there's going to be 2 Spearheads for Stormcast. There's the one we currently have with Indrasta, the Night Vexillor, 10 Vanquishers, 3 Annihilators, and a Stormstrike Chariot. And then there's the contents of the new box, which will also be a Spearhead. Will you paint the new Hallowed Knights as you do in your videos, or try something new scheme? I will probably... Annihilator? Hardly knew her. There you go, Liam. That's your next one. That's your next t-shirt. Can the Caradron Spearhead bring an Ironclad? No, but it can bring... It is a frigate. I've built that one. That one's ready to go. I need to prime it. I haven't primed it yet. You tried my beans on toast recipe and it was brilliant. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I have the next one. Hang on. WhatsApp inbound. That's sick. I like it. What was the answer on the Hallowed Knight scheme? Oh, where was the... Did I get halfway through answering and then get distracted? So what I will probably do is I will probably do a mix with the box. I want to paint at least the contents of the Spearhead. So this is the thing, right? The Spearhead, as we've seen, doesn't include all of the Liberators that are in that box. I don't think it included the Prosecutors either, but I can't remember. Maybe it did include the Prosecutors. Either way, I'm going to paint the contents of the Spearhead as all one, and it'll probably be Hallowed Knights. Now, but the thing with the Hallowed Knights, though, is that, as we've seen, there's the more traditional blue steel for the guys that haven't been reforged a bunch of times, but then there is the really heavy, grim, dark version of it. So I think we're going to do both of those for the Hallowed Knights. But then with the Liberators that I'll have, I will probably do 5 extra schemes that you would be able to apply to the rest of the box. Because there's 10 in there and you only use 5 for Spearhead. So we'll probably go for the darker, more aggressive version of Hallowed Knights that we're seeing at the minute, rather than it be all like blue bright steel. And I've got it in mind as to how I'm going to do it. And it's going to look gorgeous, or it's going to look terrible, and I'm going to have to change my mind completely. But we'll find out. Warhammer channel just did 5 schemes, so maybe paint some other schemes than those. Which ones did they do? How to paint 5 different Storm hosts, intermediate. Shush. Which ones are done? Hallowed Knights. Hallowed Knights. Hammers of Sigmar. Celestial Vindicators. Just copying my ones. Knights Excelsior. Yeah. And Anvils of the Helden Hammer. Yeah. The selection of paints there indicates to me that somebody at Warhammer TV watched my videos and went, yep. Oh, that would be a good one, Sean. Warhipster. Hardly knew her. You can put that one on a t-shirt, Liam. All I'm saying is that Celestial Vindicator scheme looked quite familiar. I didn't invent it. What I'll need to do is I probably do something like Celestial Warbringers, or Astral Templars. I know I've done it before, but I might update it, or just do it again. Tempest Lords I've done, Knights Excelsior I've done before, Anvils of the Heldenhammer I've done before. So I just basically need to find some cool ones to do that are different, that will expand the retinue a little bit more. But I do want to have a... Have you gotten a painting job offer from GW yet? No, never. Never, Vicious Goose. They told me, how did you get on with the Legends of Paint? Laura cheated. I got a silver and I got a bronze. For Legends of Paint, which is cool. It was precisely 100% better than what I did at Golden Demon. So that was good. I did speak to a number of staff that said they used your videos. Oh, that would be cool. When I watch their tutorials, I'm like, wow, Josh does it so much better. Well, that's why you come to me. It's not cheating if they don't tell you any rules. You're not wrong, Laura. Did you get the victory pin? Did I hear it? No, I got a silver pin and a bronze pin for Legends of Paint. My what's it called? Cavalier Marshal on horse. They're always on horse. Cavalier Marshal got a silver pin, and my Saurus Scar Veteran on Agrodon got a bronze pin. Any plans on doing more Middle-earth models since you had a shout-out from Nerd of the Rings? I had a shout-out from Nerd of the Rings? When did that happen? Jack, you need to inform me right now. You got a Grom Brindle. Mine turned up today as well, Liam. I'm gonna build him this afternoon. Well, this evening, after dinner. So, for anybody who wants a Grom Brindle video, I will be doing a Grom Brindle video. Nerd of the Rings gave you a shout out last Friday. He started painting MESBG and said he used your vids as a guide. Oh my god. How did I not know this? That's exceptional. Painting my first MESBG army live. Oh, I love it. Oh, that's really exciting. If his 1 million subscribers could make their way over here, that would be incredible. Please subscribe. Please become a member. You've been mentioned on Warhammer Weekly a couple of times lately too. Have I? What's Warhammer Weekly? Speaking of videos, is Me Time May replaced with Project Spearhead? Are you only going to work on Spearhead boxes for this month? No, not specifically. I'm going to get the Slaves to Darkness one finished soon, and then I'm gonna do some other. I'm gonna do a couple of other bits I need to do. To be honest, Me Time May might extend into June for a couple of weeks. Liam, you do mention me all the time, and I mention you all of the time. But you know, you're one of the best cheerleaders ever. I aspire to be as successful as Liam one day. Because Liam's an absolute boss, and if you're not already subscribed to Liam Dempsey, you absolutely should be. Because Liam's a legend. He and I are going to make tons and tons of Age of Sigmar content, and then we're all going to be... Go over to Mr. Liam Dempsey, right there. A show done by Vince Venturella, all about AOS. Well, that's very exciting. It's different. One of the strange things about being on YouTube and being a YouTuber, right, is that you never know. Because YouTube is not very good at telling you if you get mentioned or if someone tags you or anything like that. Because YouTube's really bad at that. Someone might do something which is all about you, and you just never find out unless you're already subscribed or you find the video. You see what I mean? So, like, sometimes it'll be like, oh, you came up on this thing. I'm like... Nothing happened. But then other times it'll be like, you get tagged in something and it's great. So it's just YouTube playing weird YouTube games. So are you doing any more Middle-earth? Yeah, so one of the things I want to do, Jack, is I want to just literally speed paint a Army of the Dead for you guys. This week is rammed, but next week is not. So this week I'm going to be really busy. Next week is where I will do some MESBG and some 40k as well. Just to keep some people happy. But I'm just stacking videos at the moment. Josh Time June. We shouldn't call it Josh Time June. YouTube expects you to be constantly Googling yourself. Exactly. And I never do that because well, if I Google my own name, if I Google Josh Hill, I never come up. Yeah, there we go. Never come up. Which is great. Instead, what you get is a World Supercross champion. And you get... there was an NFL player, wasn't there, whose name was Josh Hill. And there was a racing driver as well. There's also a Joshua Hill on YouTube who has almost as many subs as me and is the motocross guy. Whereas if I look up Warhipster, it's only ever me. But what I get is I just get a ton of my own videos. The top hit for me is how to paint High Fleet Leviathan Termagants. For some reason. That's the thing that Google wants me to see. Mike Seaton says, I'm finally going to dive into AOS with the new launch and start a Skaven army. Would it be a good idea to trade my Stormcast half for someone's Skaven half and double up? I think so. I think that's a pretty good idea. Because well, of the units that I've seen, they're really fun. You'll get 6 Rat Ogres. The only thing you might not want is the duplication of all the characters. But that will be the quickest way for you to get 80 Clan Rats. So 80 Clan Rats. You'll have 6 Rat Ogres, 6 Giselles, 2 of the Rattling... I can't remember what it's called. I just keep calling them the Rattling Blaster. The big cannon. 2 Clawlords, 2 Greyseers, 2 Warlock Engineers. So it might be that you don't want the duplicates of the characters, but 80 Clan Rats though, you'll never need any more after that, I suspect. I've got 2 of the 3 Skaven Underworlds warbands as well, if they can be used for anything. So we don't know what's going to happen with the Underworlds warbands yet, but I would assume that they'll be in there as a unit. Did you finish Callus and Tollbox? Nope, that's on the list to do. That's going to be happening in the coming weeks. Some people don't know, do they, Liam? I'm one of those people. I don't know anything. I know nothing other than what I've been shown. I'm an ignorant little boy. I wish I knew more. I'm excited that the faction focuses are starting, though. That's going to be fun. I might wind up buying the Spearhead box set alongside the big box and save half for my friend when he can pay me back for it. It's not a bad shout. There you go. MK10 is looking to get rid of the Skaven half. I really want AOS to take off this time around. Yeah, I mean, like... Anyway, got to go, my love. I'm going to be sending my lot your way in a minute, Liam. Watch, keep an eye on the horizon. Do you know if the Mars Beta pattern head is still available there? I have no idea, I'm afraid. I didn't look. I will, Captain Manrings. I'm gonna be shipping to Liam. Just in case, you know, you guys wanted to continue the evening's entertainment. You know, that's all. That's all. All right, you've just been, yeah. As Captain Marion says, give them a call. They'll be able to tell you. So yeah, to Fulgrim Transfigured on the list as well. Yeah. He is definitely he's definitely on the list of things I want to get done this week, this month. Will there be a clan molder painting video, and if not, how much for one? Right. Yes. Yeah, so because there's 40. Let me just look at what Clan Molder looks like. Isn't this what they've been painting them in anyway? What have they been painting the... Anyway, because there's going to be 40 clan rats in there, what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to do things like paint 20 of them as, for example, Clan Molder, but then paint 5 of them as Eshin, 5 of them as Scryer, 5 of them as Pestilence, that kind of thing. That's my thinking, because there's 40. So the risk when a box like this comes out is that they go, there's 5 Liberators in the box, and it's like, cool. If I paint these as 5 different Storm Hosts, I have a completely unusable unit. With Skaven, that's not so much a problem, right? Because there's 40 of them, right? So I can paint 20 of them as something, and then divide the other 20 up into a bunch of other ones. So it's definitely going to happen, Starpilot. You don't have to pay me anything. We shall see. I'm just going to be pumping out content left, right, and centre. You know? You're probably going to get tired of it. You know? You'll probably end up as a situation where there'll be a video, 3 vids a week until AOS 4 if we're good to go. Honestly, it might be, depending on how many more videos I stack over the next couple of weeks, it might be that there's just a video every day for a good couple of weeks. At the moment in stock, what do I have? So the videos that I've got currently ready to go because they've been painted are as follows. We have Croot Hounds, which you know. Breaker Boss, Croot Hounds, the Breaker Boss, Spoilpox Scrivener, Beaskewer Killbow, Saurus Old Blood on Carnosaur, Branch Witch and Kernoth Hunters, Varangard I'm currently working on, Chaos Lord, Chaos Chariot. Yeah, so there's 9 videos I've currently already got ready to go. Well, Varangard I'm currently working on. But, yeah. There's then, of course, the Caradron. There's 4 videos in that, if I get that done. Did I say Carnosaur? Yes, I did. And then we've got Endrin Riggers, Arcanaut Company, Arcanaut Frigate. Lumineth-wise, I've got the scheme I've got in mind for Sentinels, Wardens, the Cathalar, and the Blade Lords. There's another 4. The Chaos Cultists. What are they called? Torments. Just going to get it done, get it out of the way. Saviors of Cinderfall. Fulgrim. How difficult are the Varangard to do? They're not actually going to be that difficult, I don't think. So I painted one. Here's one. The thing is with them is the shocking amount of trim. But ultimately, it's like it's not a particularly difficult miniature to do. Where are we getting the Great Nation of Helon? Probably not at the moment. But I'll see. See if I have anything spare left over once I've got through what I need to get through. Are you getting the named Dark Oath box? Which one's that? Brands Oathbound. I wouldn't know. We'll have to find out, your mail. But yeah, like I said, the Varangard color palette isn't actually that wide. It's just a lot of trim. It's a lot of trim. A lot of trim. The one I've left over to film is this one. So I'll be filming this one very soon. And you'll be able to see. Because I've got this one in progress at the moment. Do you think a paint pen would make any difference for the trim? Yeah, message me on Discord, Cameron. It's not so much actually... It's not so much actually the painting of the gold, it's highlighting it all. If you don't want to highlight it, just get all the gold on and just throw Agrax Earthshade on it. That'd be absolutely fine. I, of course, then go in and highlight everything with Liberator Gold. And so... that's the bit that takes ages. How many test models do you normally do before the video one? I don't normally do any test models. So this one that I finished was one that I started. I started this model on February the 15th, 2023. There's a live stream called Warhipster Let's Paint Some Varangard or something. And this was that exact model. So I started painting it then. And then I was like, I want to finish these and get these done because people keep asking where they are. So I painted this one and I got to film the other one. Most of the time, I don't do any test models. I just go straight for it. But in the instance of filming something like Varangard, for example, I don't need to film all three, and because filming takes a long time. If I'm filming all three, that just makes painting it way longer. So normally I just go straight in and do it. I paint the background ones though. What about older Skaven models? Screaming Bell, Warp Lightning Cannon, Death Wheel, lots of texture, great for contrast. I don't have any plans to get them right now. It's a silly thing to buy models for an army that is about to get a complete redo at the moment. So buying any older Skaven miniatures right now is just not a good idea because, you know, they're about to get completely redone anyway. And there might be even cooler stuff in there, which you can then take and apply to painting things like Screaming Bells and such. So, for example, that Gatling cannon thing, pretty much that's the Screaming Bell that you would just transplant onto it. And I hate building. I really hate building. So building older models is even worse. So I'm not likely to do it. I've just seen that Mike Seaton has become a member. Thank you very much, Mike. You're a legend. Thank you. That's very, very kind of you. That puts us on 532. A lucky number 13 for the day. Skaven fans out there. So Dominat Stormcast from Weird Hollow is boxes lost. What do you mean, Tronic? But also wait and see what you get from GW. Yeah, I mean this is the thing, right? Is I don't know what's coming. I don't know what they're gonna do, and I don't know what the new models are gonna be, and I don't know if they're gonna send them to me. And if I stack up on models that I'm never gonna paint, I just end up with boxes of models. As you've seen, I end up with boxes full of models that I don't have time to do. And that really stresses me out and it fills me full of anxiety. This box is Death and Destruction. This is one box of about 15 boxes that are similar to this. That you saw earlier. Just rammed full of models that I don't have time to do. Like I said, it just makes me, it really stresses me out all the time. So... Great Nation of Helen. Let me look. And there seems to be absolutely no pictorial references whatsoever for this, which is great. That's always fun. I just want an official one from Games Workshop. Is that so hard to ask? Gorse Blaster Green I would never use as a full highlight. I would only ever really use it as a spot highlight. Because it's really vibrant. It's really bright. So yeah, it can absolutely work as a spot highlight for green. I wouldn't use it as your full highlight. Because it's too much. Where it's a really good spot highlight for is anything that sits within a colour space that uses something like Cyberite green as its highlight. Would be my recommendation. Oh. Yeah, no, I painted some gold on them and I haven't done anything else to them yet. I can get to them eventually. I have to swap back to an old camera if I've even still got that old bit of footage. I'm not entirely sure. How did you like the Necromunda reveal, and any plans for painting the Spires or Malstrain stuff, or is Necromunda a hard pass for me? It's never a hard pass for me. The only thing that's happened with Necromunda is they don't send me anything from Necromunda. So it's one of those things, right? Is a big box like that is I have to buy it to make the videos on it. Usually what happens is I buy something like that, it arrives on the same weekend as insert AN other thing that I've been working on. So I end up 2 weeks behind everybody else. And when I'm 2 weeks behind everybody else, well, no, I end up 3 to 4 weeks behind everyone else. When that happens, no one watches the videos. Which is a shame. Good evening, Martin Spoon. How are you? But I'm always interested in painting a bunch of varied stuff. It just so happens that May I've been really like I've been not busy at all with new stuff, and I've made that conscious decision to do that. So like, you know, for example, I know they are videos that people have been asking for a while. Things like the how to paint the Breaker Boss on Maya Brute Troggoth. But because it's a 3-year-old model at this point, it's not going to be a video that does very well. So, you know, I've had to quiet my brain just to be like, yep, it's okay. June is going to be a barren month of content in terms of making much money. And like, you know, it's one of those things. Have you tried using blue horror as an undercoat for contrast paint? I saw someone paint High Fleet Tiamat's flesh with Aethermatic blue over blue horror, and it looks really good. I've not tried that, no. Usually I find a way to get that colour with contrast paint first and then do stuff. My hopes of seeing you paint the Triumph of St. Catherine have just been destroyed. Mike. Come on now. Mike, I've got you. That link right there, Triumph of St. Catherine. You're all good. Because you probably haven't seen it because it's a 4-year-old video. It's a 4-year-old video that didn't do very well. That is some retro Warhipster right there. It's a very different setup. That's how we roll. Anyway, guys, it's 7:45, which means it is time for us to end. Because I'm going to go and have my dinner. And then I've got a long night of painting ahead of me. Got lots of gold trim in my future. So, I want to say a massive thank you to Jack, Captain Mannerings, Baradon283, Big Ron, Cameron, Fake Street Spirit, Big Ron again, MK10 Gaming, Justin Ward, and Mike Seaton for all of the months of membership and the super chats and the gifted members. You guys, absolute legends. Thank you very much for being the best audience ever. I will be back on Wednesday with another live stream and a painting video on Thursday, and then another painting video on Saturday. Lots of painting videos coming. I'm sending you over to Liam. Have fun. Good luck, have fun. Here is the hand of farewell. I shall wave it at you because you are the best ever. Love you. Bye for now. See you in a bit. Bye.